Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're focusing our attention on one of the world's most aggressive and dynamic real estate sectors.
The accommodation market in Dubai.
Exactly. And if you've been watching the investment or travel trends there, you know that one specific type of property is becoming just overwhelmingly dominant, the service department.
It's not an accident, and that's what our stack of sources really confirms. We've got a clear roadmap here detailing why these units are not just a trend.
Duh.
They're becoming the default preferred choice across a huge spectrum of users, from weekend tourists to multi-month corporate teams.
And that's our mission today, to unpack this shift. It's a fascinating case study in how a market responds to what people actually need.
Yeah.
We're going to shortcut your learning curve on this global hub.
And we'll analyze what makes these apartments such a success story for, well, both the traveler who needs a comfortable base and the investor who's looking for highly predictable returns.
So if you boil it down right at the start,
I'd say the dominance of serviced apartments comes down to a perfect blend of three pillars: high convenience for the user, essential flexibility in leasing, and fundamentally a very strong financial appeal that just keeps investors pouring capital into the sector.
okay, let's unpack that financial engine first. The rise of these apartments isn't just about, consumer demand.
Not at all.
It's being turbocharged by a really lucrative investment opportunity. For a property buyer in Dubai, this is where the serious money conversation begins.
That's right. When you compare serviced apartments to traditional long-term rentals in Dubai, the financial advantages are pretty stark.
How so?
Well, the first major factor is the income stream. Traditional flats, they suffer from vacancy gaps, usually when tenants move out and you need to refurbish.
Right, that dead time.
Exactly. But serviced units with their short to mid-term stay model see constant turnover, which leads to higher, more consistent occupancy rates all year round.
And that consistency is what's driving these high yields we keep hearing about.
Precisely. Our sources report attractive net yields often hitting 8% or even higher. I mean, that figure is competitive on a global scale.
And in Dubai, it's reliable.
It's very reliable, partly because the regulatory framework is strong and you don't have these complicated taxation structures that might, eat into those returns somewhere else. It's a very efficient investment vehicle.
Okay, but I see the appeal of that 8% yield. But if these units have such high turnover, doesn't that inherently lead to, well, disproportionately high management costs?
That's the critical question.
Housekeeping, maintenance, constant minor repairs. Doesn't that eat into the profit?
It's what every potential investor asks, and the answer ties directly into the segment's major driver: branded residences.
Wow.
These units, they're often affiliated with big developers or hotel chains, and that mitigates the risk. These are not DIY Airbnbs. They offer a complete turnkey solution.
A turnkey solution, meaning you buy the asset and they handle all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. For an overseas investor, this is just, well, it's paramount. The brand handles the marketing, the dynamic pricing to maximize occupancy, the day-to-day management, and yes, all that crucial upkeep and 204/7 service.
That simplicity must be driving a lot of capital flows.
It is. And beyond just making it simple, there's the prestige. That brand affiliation, it adds this layer of trust.
I was going to say it's a known quantity.
It absolutely is. That known quantity boosts the property value and lets the operator command higher rental rates because guests trust the service standards.
And there's another angle here too, right, with residency.
Yes, these high-value investments often appeal to wealthy individuals who are looking for long-term stability in the UAE, potentially qualifying them for something like a golden visa, which has a specific investment threshold.
But let's not overlook the psychological benefit here, this idea of personal use and investment synergy. You own a financial asset, but you can also use it.
This blend is incredibly powerful. Investors can earn substantial income from the property when they aren't using it and then, enjoy it themselves for holidays or extended visits.
But there must be a tension there.
There is. It's something worth mulling over. The operator needs 24/7 access to maximize income, but the owner wants guaranteed personal access.
So how does that work?
Contracts. They usually specify the number of days the owner can use the unit annually. It's a balance between operational demands and personal privilege. And this need for constant high-level support is a theme we will definitely circle back to.
Okay, let's pivot from the investor to the guest, because that high yield is only possible if there's incredible demand.
Of course.
And here's where it gets really compelling for me. These apartments meet very specific needs for diverse traveler groups that, frankly, standard hotel models just cannot satisfy.
That's because Dubai's market is truly global. Its residents and its visitors have such varied needs. We see three key demographics really driving this demand shift. First, just consider families from the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC countries.
Right. They often travel in multi-generational groups, which means a typical hotel suite just won't cut it.
Far from it. When you have multiple generations traveling together, you need space. Space for privacy, for connection, and for utility. A serviced apartment lets a large family spread out while staying close.
And crucially, they want to replicate that feeling of being at home.
Absolutely, especially for longer trips.
That means
A kitchen. Kitchen facilities are completely non-negotiable. Whether it's for dietary needs, cultural preferences, or just saving money, the ability to cook familiar meals is essential.
and laundry, I imagine.
And for longer stays, a washing machine becomes a necessity, not a luxury. Hotels, even high-end ones, can't easily deliver a full kitchen and laundry setup across multiple rooms without the cost becoming astronomical.
Okay, so shifting gears to the core professional sector. These units are essential for extended stay business travelers. We're talking project managers, consultants.
Corporate teams whose trips stretch into weeks or even months. For this group, the mental shift is from traveling to living and working remotely.
That's a great way to put it.
When a trip goes past a couple of weeks, living out of a suitcase is just draining. Professionals need to establish a routine. They need a proper, dedicated workspace, not a tiny desk jammed next to a bed.
They need to reclaim that sense of normalcy.
Exactly. Being able to cook their own food, keep up a fitness routine, do their own laundry, it lets them focus on their work without the constant friction of hotel life.
And our sources show this is a major trend for corporate teams.
A huge trend. Companies that specialize in corporate housing understand this market intimately, linking these professionals with practical, long-term working bases.
And finally, these units function as a crucial transition zone for relocating expats.
Oh, absolutely. Moving to a fast-paced global city like Dubai is stressful enough. Serviced apartments provide a soft landing. They are a seamless, comfortable base during that turbulent period of finding a permanent home, setting up bank accounts, and handling all the paperwork.
It takes the pressure off having to immediately sign a year-long lease on an unfurnished place.
It removes that pressure completely.
Which brings us back to the ultimate unique selling point, this all-inclusive convenience factor. It's the ultimate hassle-free accommodation that just eliminates those typical relocation headaches.
The genius of it lies in the ready-to-move-in promise. You open the door, and it's a fully furnished home.
Beds are made, kitchen's working.
Everything. But for new arrivals, the most critical element is that the utilities, electricity, water, high-speed internet, are typically bundled right into the rent.
Which, for anyone who's ever moved internationally, means avoiding the administrative gauntlet.
It is a game changer. Imagine landing in Dubai and having to immediately deal with utility companies, deposits, connection fees, internet providers.
A nightmare.
Service departments eliminate that massive administrative runaround. It simplifies budgeting dramatically because that all-in payment is predictable from day one.
So you're getting the space and the function of an apartment, but you're not losing the structural support of a hospitality environment.
That's the beautiful hybrid sweet spot. You get the apartment space while benefiting from hotel-like services. Hassle-free management and housekeeping are included, which frees up the guest's time.
Which is especially crucial for business travelers or expats who need to hit the ground running.
Absolutely. You never have to worry about maintenance issues or finding a cleaning service. It's all handled behind the scenes by the operator.
So if we visualize this on a timeline, where does this service department fit best?
It occupies the perfect niche. Short to mid-term stays, it's too long for a traditional hotel stay where the daily rate would get astronomical very quickly.
And it's too short for a traditional rental.
Way too short for a traditional residential lease, which usually demands a minimum 1-year commitment. And the adaptable check-in and check-out times, that just enhances the flexibility even more. It caters precisely to the modern, mobile traveler whose plans can often shift.
So what does all this success mean for the future market dynamics? I mean, the supply side is responding rapidly, and that has to mean new competitive pressures are emerging.
The market expansion is fascinating because it's happening on two fronts at the same time. We're seeing a significant push in the luxury sector.
High-end, branded residences, all the amenities.
Everything, commanding premium pricing. But developers are just as focused on the mid-market sector. They realize that affordability and value for money open up accessibility to a much wider range of budgets.
Especially for younger professionals and corporate teams looking for that long-term value.
Exactly. And this rapid expansion is facing some interesting competition from below, namely the rise of these decentralized holiday homes.
That's a crucial dynamic.
It is, and it's one that service department operators have to address. Holiday homes, managed through platforms like Airbnb, they offer variety. They're scattered across different neighborhoods.
So you can choose an experience like a marina view or a quieter spot.
Right. To compete, the established service department operators are moving away from that single building model.
They need to offer a whole portfolio of options then.
Absolutely. They now have to offer entire portfolios of geographically diverse options and flexible dynamic pricing to match the variety that holiday homes provide. The game is becoming much more sophisticated than just location.
And this balancing act, it extends into how they secure revenue too. It's a mix of broad reach versus deep loyalty.
Right. So online travel agencies, or OTAs, they're still vital for broad visibility, for attracting first-time customers on that global stage.
They fill the gaps.
They do, despite the high cost of commissions. But the long game, the more profitable game, is direct bookings. And smart operators are investing heavily in their own booking technology and guest portals to build that loyalty and ensure repeat business.
Which gives them higher profit margins.
Much higher. And then for the guaranteed, predictable base revenue, we look back to the professional sector.
Corporate agreements.
That's where they step in. For companies that regularly send staff for extended projects, these negotiated long-term rates provide consistent, high-volume revenue. They provide a reliable foundation underneath the more dynamic tourist market, ensuring that predictable income stream that helps maintain those high investment yields we talked about.
Before we wrap up, let's just provide a final, clear distinction for anyone listening who might be weighing their own long-term accommodation options. Service apartment versus a traditional rental.
The differences really boil down to two things: commitment and administrative burden.
Okay, on the commitment side.
Service departments offer immense flexibility. We're talking shorter leases, sometimes month to month, even week to week, with no long-term financial commitment. A traditional rental, on the other hand, locks you in.
Usually for a year or more.
A minimum of a year, typically, often with post-dated checks and heavy security deposits.
And the setup required. What about that burden?
Well, the comparison is night and day. Service apartments are fully furnished, ready for immediate occupancy, and require zero administrative setup for utilities or internet.
Whereas a traditional rental.
It's usually unfurnished, so the tenant has to buy all the furnishings and then navigate the complex, time-consuming process of setting up and paying deposits for every single utility service in the city.
So the target audience is clear. If you plan to stay a year or more, maybe go traditional. But if you need comfort, flexibility, and to remove all the hassle so you can actually focus on being in Dubai,
Then service apartments are the undeniable answer.
that brings us to the end of our deep dive. I think the main takeaway here is that service departments have achieved this market dominance by finding that perfect sweet spot. They combine hotel convenience and full management support with the space and function of a real apartment.
They just remove the stress.
Completely. They remove the stress of utility hookups, of year-long leases, making them the superior choice for anyone needing a stable, hassle-free base in a high-velocity global city.
And this whole dynamic, it raises an important long-term question for the sector, I think. Given the intense demand and the strong financial appeal with those 8% plus yields, investors are motivated by turnkey income, but they also want personal access to their units.
The tension we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. So how will that inevitable demand for owner-driven personal use constantly clash with the intense operational needs? The 24/7 service, the perfect housekeeping, the high-speed maintenance that you need to maintain high occupancy and guest satisfaction.
That's a great question.
Managing that tension, that pull between the owner's desires and the operator's need for control, that will really define the next phase of this booming market. It's something worth mulling over.
A fascinating tension point in a market that's defined by efficiency. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We hope you feel thoroughly informed.